To me, being in this band and creating an album, it's like Bed Frame is the drummer. Everything is going to be supported on that.
I was showing off, dude.
I know, dude. You do it well.
Too much acid. Like we're thinking like Pink Floyd Animals, like where they have the dog barking, but we're gonna have like a cat.
Hey, buddy, how are you? How are things?
Good, man. All good.
Excellent to speak with you, my friend. Yeah, I think I'm not seeing your video yet. Just letting you know.
2 seconds. Here we go.
Excellent. Motherfucker, you're looking great, man. You're looking after yourself. Well done.
You too, man. You too, man. Thank you.
I can dig it. I actually have. So you've got the. Just lean back for me a bit. You've got. That's just the. Yeah. Okay. Fuck. Okay. So yeah, similar sort of vibe with what we went with. I'm digging it. I've got the medium rarities. From Richie when I spoke with him, I immediately just spammed the store. I was like, buddy, I don't know how it works divvying up, and I hope it is. You just hope in your heart that these artists that I get a mini aneurysm anytime I never see an artist credited for any post anywhere. It's like, what are you fucking talking about? That's how I actually ended up speaking with Paul Shipper, who's done the posters for Star Wars. I would love to hear him on an episode with Bill, because Bill would freak out talking about Drew Struzan and stuff. But
awesome.
Yeah, for sure. But no, and I just Richie's work is incredible, and you need to help me, buddy. Can you help me manifest something?
Go for it.
The Medusa Wolf who did the amazing artwork for Emperor Sand, Alan Brown. He is lovely. He's introverted like me, and I want to speak with him. I just want to get him on the show and signal boost the guy. I want, you know what I mean? And eventually Paul as well. Paul Romano would be really rad.
That'd be sick,
man. And you have to be. Yeah. Well, I want to actually say, buddy, for reaching out and for riffing and being patient with the schedule shifts and stuff, thank you. That's so kind of you.
You're welcome, man. No problem at all. I have actually spoken to Medusa Wolf a couple of times online. So I don't know, maybe if we both pester him, he might cave. Yeah,
from a place of love. Even it's not even I'm OCD, must have him on the show. It's just because I know that if I, the most fucking introverted person, can almost be 300 episodes in to a podcast, it's just I want the very best for him, and obviously ultimately if he's hard no, love you very much, I'll see you next year, but dude, yeah, man, that's me going off on tangents, man. Thank you for being who you are, doing what you do. You're such a positive force in the Mastodon community.
Likewise, man.
Yeah, I love that there's that Venn diagramming of creators and community, which is what my network and stuff is all about. And you have some brand tales for us as well later, which is going to be really rad.
Man, definitely.
Before all that, man, how does the day find you?
All good today, man. I've accidentally seen various members of my family that I haven't seen because of the whole COVID thing.
Just running into the shops.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, stepped out and bumped into everybody.
Oh, that's signs from the universe. Yeah,
that's it, man. How about you?
So internet here in Australia is fucked, and I'm very close to. So where do you're in the world? You're in the UK or America? Yeah. Okay, UK. It's very likely that Mrs. and I are gonna fucking jump ship from. It's just they're not getting their shit together. We're first world and all that, and yet it's just chuggy as fuck. And so I had to do some compression. I had to do other Elden Ring stuff where we got Dune coming up as well. But if you trace things chronologically for me, and it's like I love the premise of the podcast network. It is literally broadening my horizons, like with the conversation with Russell Brownlee for Gojira. Like, I love Gojira, but the premise of me now, it's the Gojira podcast. I'm going to speak with the producer of that video later, and then Amazonia and stuff. And again, Venn diagramming. And you're all, obviously, man, just stay in touch. You're welcome to be on any of those, because if you have questions for like these
yeah, man.
And when I spoke
I'd love to.
Yeah, man. Oh, well, then I'm literally just going to spam you. I'll be like, hey, I'm speaking with music director of Iron Tusk. Jesus fuck. Like, I want to track down those boffins. Like, tell me about when you were shooting the fucking Sea Beast music video. Like, fuck.
Yeah,
right.
That is a cool video as well.
You're with me on that journey. Excellent.
Definitely, man.
I can dig it. But yeah, I suppose we could do the Mastodon ID thing, because guess what? You're the first. You are on the creator space though with Wax. Wax Structures, is it?
Wax Futures.
Wax Futures. Yeah. So you are on the creator side with Wax Futures. Now, fill me in, man, with that sphere of your life with music and how it interrelates with Mastodon.
Wax Futures were a band that just a local band from my town, and I kept seeing their name on flyers, and I used to go to all of their gigs. First time I saw them, I bought a tape and a CD, t-shirt as well, and just kind of went to all of their local gigs and just got hanging out with them a couple of times. And then they were having issues with their drummer. They ended up reaching out. The bassist, who I never really spoke to, he reached out to me the one day and was just like, might have something that you'd be interested in. I thought you wanted to start a new band. And then the singer from the band messaged me the next day, basically saying the same thing. And they were both like, would you be up for being in the band? And I was just like, fuck yeah. They were like my favorite local band. So I got really lucky.
I'm digging it, man. Well, it's all of it's going to be in the description for people to just spam and check out. In fact, I like guilting people into doing it. Pause the show, go check out some Wax Futures right now, and fucking spam Danny on all of these. Now I've got Danny Jukes. I can just call you Danny, right? Is that cool?
Yeah, okay.
Man. Dan man, all that's all the daggy puns, all the daggy nicknames are coming, man. That's wonderful. Well, I'm so glad. And so, what do you play in the band?
Drums.
Yeah, you fucking do. You fucking maniac. I love drummers, man. And I the thing is with Mario, for example, it's their sister band. So many, like the Meshuggahs and the Baroness, it's all one big heavy fucking music family. And
I usually find that if you like one of those bands, you usually like them all.
Yeah. And then you have something orbiting that, which is we're speaking soon for the Delouse and the Comatorium 18th anniversary for Mastodon Podcast. We spoke with CD Clark, who did the art direction for La Realidad de los Sueños, and just having Cedric show up on Blood Mountain. I fucking love Blood Mountain, man. I love all of them. It's an ascent, seriously, to just keep loving what they're doing, not from a fanboy place, from a place of that's a group of people who have decided to lead from artistic integrity, personal integrity, and they're my favorite band of all time. Like, I feel very unfettered in saying that, just from every, like, the human experience point of view. Like, they're all great human beings first, and then and self-challenging, increasingly evolving artists. That's why this episode's called 20 Years of Evolution, man. So Slick Leg, fuck, 20 fucking years ago, they just, like, a couple of scrappy 20-year-old scraggly iconoclastic motherfuckers just going like, okay, Slick Leg, bitch, Yeah, my fucking guy over here.
Got that one.
Signed as well, you
signed.
Okay, so Danny, you are officially the co-host of the Mastodon Podcast, okay? You understand that, right?
I'm more than happy.
Well done. And I'm serious, because my approach, I was actually messaging someone about this, is, as you saw, this is the first episode of the show. It's going to ramp up now. I think I've got some things sorted with the rhythm, but you're episode 3 after Richie. And then Richie was like a year or so after Skinner. And now things are really like we're hitting a great momentum, and it'll be good to catch up after the Georgia Aquarium gig as well,
Definitely.
But always, that's me essentially setting up, like, it's always with me across everything, literally zero pressure, expectation, anything. I don't even think about, like, I'm obviously going to be spamming this goes out onto the consolidated channel, which is around 40K subscribers. So that'll actually get you in front of a whole bunch of eyes and just getting people your way, signal boosting you. But the whole point of it is, that happens out of people connecting with you, never out of like, oh, we're led from wanting to make money or whatever. For me, the whole thing is it's just community. And frankly, a community like Mastodon, you see Purple Haze, you see the Mastodon mayhem, like fan people, like this. It's very fucking wholesome. I think we got a good energy. What do you reckon of the Mastodon vibe of like community and stuff?
Well, I used to, when I had Facebook, I was part of the Mastodon Mayhem Facebook page. I just used to, any time I ever had anything to shout about Mastodon wise, I'd always share it in there. And I ended up becoming friends with a guy called Richard who ran his own Behemoth fan page as well. And I'm good friends with him now. And, there's another guy who lives in Leeds, which is north of where I live. He's a big Mastodon fan. He ended up actually getting me a Baroness tour t-shirt because I couldn't go to the gig. So everybody I've met through this whole fandom has been great. It's always very welcoming, very warm. Every time I've been to see Mastodon, which is about 10, 11 times or something now, I've never had any bullshit at the gigs. It's always just like a level of respect that you don't usually get in the metal community a lot of the times, I find.
I think it's good to also bring Behemoth in. Nergal is very, very kindred. As you saw, he takes his music very seriously, but not himself. He's there doing yoga poses. He's fucking. Absolutely. But as soon as when they're on stage, they're the real fucking deal. And we do have the Behemoth podcast. I've reached out and gotten replies from wonderful Dennis Forkas, who did the Satanist artwork, who used some of Nergal's blood, the leukemia blood that he just painted with it. And so
I didn't know that.
We're going to speak with him, and you have to be on that one, obviously, right?
Definitely.
Fucking A, exactly. So, and bless, I was already doing it before COVID, but bless COVID for really blowing open the Zoom highway of, just like connecting people. Man, that is rad. We can go in all kinds of omnidirectional, areas with this one because it's kind of a special time. I recorded some Elden Ring stuff just about how in the lead up to knowing what even something is, it's very special. And I put my little speculative thing on the Instagram there. But yeah, I suppose, well, we've covered a little bit of like how, with Wax Futures and like Mastodon. And have you actually gone into like you actually encountering Mastodon for the first time? Did you talk about
that? No. Do you mean like when I discovered them?
Yeah.
Oh, well, oh man, it was absolutely years ago.
Exactly. I want to pause there. I want to just cherish for the listeners and the viewers. He was so nonplussed by that question, which is like, what do you mean? Like, I've always breathed, bitch. Like he was almost offended that I asked it because I agree. For me, they're an omnipresence, and I actually find with this thing, I just want to alley-oop you and support you more about this thing of the community. Something about Mastodon with how kind of they go into the mythological, they go into the storytelling, they cast a very wide but then also in-depth net on the human experience. You actually get a lot of pretty well-adjusted, well-rounded people. It's like a bit of a marker. It's like, oh, Mastodon, it's like you're in it, you can enjoy it on the surface level, but then you can go into the deeper layers, and then they bring so much of their authenticity and that human experience catharsis of placing some of their grieving experiences, which, first episode that I want to just really Nick John, we're gonna speak about him in September, which will have been a couple of years since the news of his passing, and so then so good vibes on that side as well. And so see, they keep shit real. My fiance does this leadership mentoring stuff, and it's really, really valuable work. And one of the things she's adaged is it's a Leonard Cohen thing. It's like the light comes in through the wounds. It's like they've been really rocketed by life, and they chose not to be heightened with it and to escape or run away. They actually face it and channel it, and it's very, very healthy. So healthy, well-adjusted, well-rounded people tend to be Mastodonians, which is kind of cool,
absolutely. Like I always find that their music, usually their new music, comes to me at the perfect time. It's really strange. Like Crack the Sky came out around about the time that a friend of mine committed suicide.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Which obviously sucks for anybody, but it was just so weird that that album kind of came out while I was in the grieving phase. I found out that it was about Brian's sister doing the same. And then, a few years later, Emperor of Sand comes out, and that's obviously based around cancer and stuff like this. And my granddad had just passed away after like a 10-year battle with it. And it's like they've always been like a pillar of support without them knowing it. It's beautiful. Just really weird how that happens. They always seem to be there for me at the right time.
It's beautiful. I think there's a nice little kind of cosmic alignment there, and I certainly have found that I say Blood Mountain because whenever I'm actually trying to surmount something, it's my album. And then how it just starts up with there's Wolf is Loose is just fucking get out of here. It really gets you out of your head, and then it makes you
definitely. And I always feel like that intro, like the drums and how that album starts, it just kind of kicks you in the dick and just like welcome to the
But see, again, another spectrum of the Mastodon, what I find which resonates with me is that you have that pie chart of like, it's real deal, like serious musicians, intelligent, cerebral, real deal stuff, and then you have a nice 30% chunk of that it's just fucking fun, man, and then wholesome and stuff, and like Deathbound I love, like so good, and it's fucking rad. But I didn't just to say this about when we are going through tough times, it's important, please let it be a meta thing that if my pal Danny talking about that stuff now made your ears perk up, like, please get out of your head. We're here. There's Zoom calls. Reach out to me, reach out to him, and just riff, because we're all open and we want to be a part of that collective spirit of good vibes and good energy. And here's my little, it might be daggy, you can roll your eyes, but my thing about the depression thing is it is this fog that desperately wants you to believe it's this gray impenetrable wall, so it just sort of is there, and it just is this thing. But if you literally just reach out with your hand, your hand goes straight through, and it's like, oh, that is literally just, it's an illusion, and that's not reality. Reality is what happens outside of that fog, and you aren't that fog. You are not your emotions. Those come by and like a fog, they pass. And so
it's always worth getting through it as well. You're the man, dude. I can dig it.
Oh, look at you thinking you're listening to just the Mastodon podcast. We Trojan horse in some love. There's got to be more love and unfettered gratitude and kinship with one another in the world, for sure.
Definitely.
But man, you've got Slig Leg there, and did we even tangent a little bit even more into talking, because you have told me about like the moment you found Mastodon, like the first song. What's the first Mastodon song you listened to?
It was March of the Fire Ants, and
I'm gonna cut to that right now. Motherfucker. Yes, that was a live performance. Obviously we don't want to get copyright struck, but motherfucker, shit. That is such a good song, man.
It was totally monstrous. Me and a friend of mine we were watching MTV, and it was like 2 a.m. It was 120 metal minutes, and that just came on, and it didn't tell you who it was at the start of the video. We were just watching it, just like, fucking hell, this is heavy. And then it came up at the end, Mastodon, and we'd never heard of them, and I never at that time I didn't delve any deeper. and I didn't have the internet or anything like that. And I just kind of forgot about him for years. And then I'll say years, a couple of years went by, and then I was at that same friend's house a couple of years later, and he was listening to this album. We were just chatting and drinking, and I was like, just earworming on this record that he was listening to, and I was like, dude, this album is fucking wild. Who is this?
My God.
And he was like, it's Mastodon's album Blood Mountain.
Yeah.
And I basically went out the next day and bought everything.
Yeah, you fucking did.
Up to that point.
Oh, that's magnificent. Let's find the there we go. From my beautiful little booklet that I keep, March of the Fire Ants, right there.
Awesome.
And just shout out again to Paul, who is just this. We're doing a dance, Paul Romano and I. I'll reach out every couple of months and say I love you, Paul. I resonate with you, and we're very grateful for you. And we know that, and he's liking the post, and I'm like, so no pressure at all, man. I kind of want to just have this chronicle of the like criminally undersung visual artists of the heavy music world. You know, there's a beautiful magazine I actually found what ended up being Amoeba Records. I fucking wandered into this place in LA, and I was like, this is a huge record store. Okay. And I just find this, it was actually the first volume, Heavy Artwork is what it's called or something. And
okay.
and so it's like this paean to my jam visually, which is frankly, dude, if you and I, we teleported right now to New York into the MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art, you and I would have to go to the front counter and say, can we please have some vomit bags? Like it's tough. It is rough, this fucking place, because you'll see toilet fucking seats nailed to the wall, and that's art. And then you have motherfucking, you know, Nergal's leukemia blood used to make this stunning Dionysian painting with fucking incredible, but like, even let's just shut the fuck up, because that amazing artwork for Leviathan, for Crack the Sky, motherfucker, like Blood Mountain, those should be framed in MoMA. And man, I got take me down a few notches, man. I'm feeling it. Oh, I'm angry. You know what I mean? It's fine art, this stuff. And John Dyer Baisley, when we get him for a Baroness podcast, like he would riff with you about that. He spoke with Richie, who was on the show, and on Revolver, about, yeah, you know, like this. I mean, are you and I in like some kind of Black Mirror universe where that is somehow not considered? It's like, oh yeah, but that's heavy metal art, and it's. Can you speak to that, man? What's going on?
I think you are right. I mean, even there's still that stigma around heavy metal in general, where it's underappreciated by, you know, the masses. It's only when something goes wrong in the metal community that it really gets spoken about openly in you know, casual media. Well, I agree. Like, you know, you look at the album cover for Leviathan. I mean, I've got part of it tattooed on my side, and
yeah, fuck yeah, and
it's just epic. It's like, you know, if that was just a piece of art by any old artist, people would be going nuts over it.
I want to speak about.
Let's just say if it was used for a reissue of Moby Dick, the book.
Yeah,
you know, people would lose their fucking minds. But because it's on an album cover by a metal band, people just go, eh.
Yeah, and it's sort of pamphletized, and it's devalued. And I just want to. That's why I'm out here wanting to really and I'm putting my utmost of signal boosting and production value, and I want to get at one point Paul like in view, like HD or Medusa Wolf, and I'll do this thing which I found some success in. I have this, you know, former OCD brain where I actually really enjoy the meticulous like admin, and so just clipping out chunks, and I'll probably do that for the Skinner one where he's another artist. All of these artists that they absolutely should just be in front of way wider audiences, and just, yeah, so that's the vibe for sure.
Did you see the I think it was the original piece for the Once More Round the Sun?
It's insane.
Album artwork. It's absolutely monstrous. Like, it's like a billboard.
Yeah. And
again, you know, if anybody else was to do that, like a known artist, people would lose their fucking minds. But
yeah, well, I'm just gonna speak
on a metal album. They're like, eh.
Exactly, it's fucked up. So what I'm gonna do now is, this is gonna be trippy, because 10 years from now, this is some fucking Twin Peaks shit, but be with me in this moment, dude. In 10 years, we're gonna set up, I don't know how the fuck it'll work, if it'll be digital or physical, hopefully some someplace. I want to set up a Mastodon museum. Like, why the fuck not? Like a dedicated thing where, because they have you can't do that for every band. And again, not a fanboyish thing. It is just honestly like the net amount of art and like fucking output and thematic. I mean, you can have certain wings of this fucking hypothetical place where it's like that's the water element and that is, you know, the earth element and stuff. They really lend themselves down to the fact that their aesthetics, you know, one of the I first learned the word iconoclastic from an article describing Mastodon, which is that they were at this time, like they didn't have the long hair. They did I think they called them like intelligentsia truckers. Like they looked like a bunch of truckers, but they fucking singing about Moby Dick, and so they have a museum-esque kind of quality to their like font choices. Like Garamond is not a metal font, you know, and yet they made it fucking metal.
Yeah.
And that's why for me Blood Mountain is this wonderful fusion. I think Emperor of Sand really like has incorporated so much with that sense of old world, you know. And yeah,
I was just about to say that about you said about the font. You know, most Mastodon albums have that same font, and then you got to like the Hunter and they changed it up, and Once More Around the Sun. And then when Emperor of Sand was announced and they used that font, I was like, oh shit,
I know
this is gonna be big.
That's right there, man. Oh, I love it.
That's it.
It's a good vibe indeed. Yeah, dude. So basically, so Slick Leg, it's something that I love. I love that it is this thing which is, I guess someone at one point had to sit and think, is like, when was the first breath of oxygen taken? Like it's such a taken for granted thing. But yeah, at one point Mastodon was just a bunch of 20-year-olds coming together. And I love the Kill That Cat videos. You can see those. I might cut to one of those now. And there you go. It's the old school, you know, and they still have that. Like when you see them having their interviews, they're just a bunch of 20-year-olds, like in whatever year old bodies, man. It's great, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, Slick Leg, Mastodon are one of those bands that inspire me simply because of how grounded they are. But Slick Leg is just something that, you know, a band of my band's caliber would put out. You know, it's just a very small DIY kind of release, and now we're talking about it 20 years later on a podcast. It's, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, I only hope that happens with my band.
I will.
You know,
I'll see to it. There you go. Wax Features Podcast, man. We're starting it.
Thanks, man. But yeah, I mean, one of the things that I really like about them is all four guys in the band, they all have their own personalities. When you see them all together, they're like, you know, they're like best pals. And they make like really serious music, as you said before. You know, their lyrics are always, you know, there's a lot going on. Yeah, there's a lot to think about.
They put a lot into it. Yeah, it merits closer viewing and discussion for sure.
Their artwork is just absolutely fantastic. And then you listen to them in interviews, and they're just like no ego whatsoever, and they're just having a laugh, and they're just really down to earth. That they could be the most pompous assholes ever. They could be. But they're really the total opposite. They're not rock stars at all. They're just really chilled.
I love it. It's great. I think that goes for, you know, people who've talked about teachers that they've had great experiences with, which is, you know, the ones who like, okay, so they're there for you with what they offer. In one case, it's education, and in many cases, people have gotten hella educated off of Mastodon. I dove headlong into Tsarist Russia when fucking Crack the Sky came out. And
I remember hearing like the lyric, what is it? The Sons of the Circle of Callisti surrounds me.
Yeah.
And I was like, who are they? Google. Boom, I need to know who these people are.
Absolutely, man. I was doing for a while unconsciously in every selfie I was doing the Callisti, you know. Nice. And they were like, you fucking idiot. I'm like, yeah, sorry, I'm a nerd. You know, I believe in the expulsion of sin to prevent sin, so you know. Yeah, and so shout out to that omnidirectional eclectic heart of Mastodon in that way, where you are subconsciously Trojan horse style, like, you know, expanding minds. Look, honestly, when I like my first my Capillary Crest was my first Mastodon song, which
we are experimenting with a drug to create delusions of grandeur. We manufacture hypersexed brown native vampires who can only be destroyed by a cross the color of white skin.
We create a laxative that induces vomiting and tint it with the color of the natives.
Badass.
There you go. I have been getting my editing on, bitch. It's fucking rad. in the end show, you'll see like amazing. And so that is off of the. It's not the Hell on Earth. So it was on iTunes in 2008, just fresh off of my army accident, where I had gotten I got left out on a firing range without hearing protection. a high vis vest, no bulletproof vest, and no radio. So
Shit.
and just they forgot. So the quintuple whammy of negligence. It was bad. And I had Sydney there. I was just chilling. I got my first tattoo after that to be like, fuck the army, you know, and it was all my self-designed symbols and stuff, which is all just based on morphogenesis.
Cool, man.
Yeah, which is actually, if you look up morphogenesis, it is the scientific word for the manner in which nature creates shapes, right? Because I'm not Maori, I don't have that like actual lineage of like the you know, the rite of passage, and I'm just some white guy. But what I do love is science, and I love you know, the surrealists to a point where there's that automatic writing thing where you're actually putting patterns like intuitively. So there's a lot of like forest detritus and like branches and twigs and stuff.
Oh yeah, like the more you look at that, the more you see.
Thanks, man. But the reason why I actually got the tattoos was Mastodon, and the reason why this one in particular flickers up like a couple of flames is because of Bran.
Yeah.
And the reason why that one goes a little bit down to my fucking wrist is because of Brand. Like it's these subtle little ways of, you know, like, yeah, rad. Like, and they were.
I got the symbols.
Motherfucker. I'm talking. This is the real deal. Yeah. So, man, I'm vibing it. I'm vibing. If you're available, 1,000,000,000%, man. If the next episode is in like a year from now, totally fine. If you're busy, but man, I would vibe having album devoted discussions with you, right? Like
up for that
kind of thing. Okay, man. Well, it's all in the pipeline.
Yeah.
Mum's from
I love
England.
all of their albums as well. There's you know, I don't like them all. You know, I do have my favorites, but there isn't a single Mastodon album that I think was bad or where they lost it. I think each one really stands on its own merit. You know, that any of those albums could have been their first and still been massive.
Just that net amount of quality. And for the decriers of certain albums, I just have no time for you, because it means you've started following a narrative of, you know, a narrow-minded narrative, which is like, for example, with The Hunter, I fucking love Octopus Has No Friends. I fucking love, you know, Creature Lives, Black Tongue.
Fingernails is probably my favorite.
Oh, Bedazzled. We're gonna speak with Thomas, who did the music video of that. With the little, have you seen that one of the stop motion? No. We're cutting to a clip right now. and I am going to send you this fucking community made. It's this guy. He's this amazing animator. I'm gonna clip this out, send this to him as my official call out interview request or hangout request or whatever. It's amazing. He hand animated and handcrafted, like, Troy is a wizard. You know, they got a little for Bill, it's like this Bosk figure, like, playing guitar. It's all stop motion, and you fucking love it, man. And
I can't believe I haven't seen that.
And well, because you mentioned Bedazzled, so it's on its way to you, man, for sure.
Awesome.
And and so then, but also with Once More, I mean, High Road is just step the fuck off. I love High Road, and I was getting into Diamond, like in the Witch House or whatever. Like, I was getting into that, but I think off of Once More, it's Asleep in the Deep, because it's so Joseph Campbellian. It's just
100%. That is probably my favorite song off that album. It's just so different to everything else they had done at that point. It's epic. I love the vocal melodies, the lyrics. Just that song is one of those songs that makes me melt, and I really do think it's an underappreciated Mastodon song.
And Tread Lightly as well. I love. So good. Oh my god. And so an
album intro as well. They're always so good at putting an absolute banger at the start of their albums.
Intro, exactly. Fucking it. I was talking to Brian Ritchie of The Sword, actually. Because we do the Sword podcast as well. You into The Sword as well? Those guys, they're pretty good.
I've never really listened to them.
You're gonna that's another one. When I'm editing this, future Albert, make sure to send Danny some shit for sure. So awesome. They have they you're all good, man. They have that same thing of like, we value for ourselves as artists, like, the first impression. Like, I'm talking wanting to get you in the first few seconds. I'm serious. Like, if something, especially nowadays, I don't know what it is, like, I have sub-zero patience for, like, anyone who doesn't, like, value my time off of the bat. I'm not going to indulge you. And there's an adage which is, don't make someone a priority who make you an option. And it's like, you're here, I'm listening, what have you got, kind of thing. And everything, like the chimes at the start of, and then Oblivion, like, it's like a good book. Like, that first sentence is so important to them. It's like a microcosm of the whole thing.
Well, I remember buying Crack the Sky when it came out, and one of my best friends, he's not really that into metal. He loves Mastodon, but I got Crack the Sky, took it round to his house and put it on. And it was like, a lot slower than their other stuff. And we were a bit like, oh, this is really different. And then that chorus come in, and we both just looked at each other like, whoa, like, man, so good.
I'm vibing it, man. And so funny you use that same intonation. You made me just think of, I was listening to it just before recording, is The Medium Rarities, is Fallen Torches. Like, I'm always just like that latest one and getting that ingrained, because Bring Me the Head, like, Bring Me the Head is like, Troy in the Bedazzled one, he's a wizard, and that's how he's portrayed. And like, it's like he chooses the spirit of that person. He's a wizard, but he's also, let us never forget that this sagely wizard man is also fucking Ahab. So he can always bring that motherfucking, like, look directly in his crooked brow and look him straight in the eye. Like, yeah, man, it's they're a good vibe on it from every angle. Have you seen their Aqua Teen Hunger Force appearances? Like,
oh yeah.
It's a groovy time for a movie time, so grab your gap and grab a seat, but don't forget to get something to eat. Delicious meat and nutritious meat.
You can't beat my meat for a special treat. Sucking on me is really neat.
Don't be a jerk and don't be a fool. Be a good neighbor and follow these rules. What are these rules? Remember to keep your shoes on at all times. Don't pull your penis out unless you really need to. Indecent exposure is a class 2 felony.
Don't talk what? Don't talk what? You came here, was it? Don't let it work out.
I love that film as well.
It's a groovy time.
Me and my friend were watching that film and it came on and it like kicked in and I was like, oh, it sounds a bit like Mastodon. And then I was like, wait, this has got to be Mastodon.
Satan will rain down hot acid down your throat.
End of the credits comes on and I was like, fucking knew it had to be them.
Of course. I do recommend Shirt Herpes, which is they make another appearance. It's a shirt that gives you herpes, and they play a trio of... No, it's actually Joe Baby Duck. It's Josh Homme who did some guest vocals on Blood Mountain. It's him and I think Brent, who struggles to. He's a demon. His name's Boggle, and he's trying to say the word polyester.
Those aren't our names.
Carl just said that because he thought it sounded cool.
Demons, be gone!
You be gone.
Polyester trindles
No, polyester tendrils.
Polyester trindles have already entered your pores.
Into the pores.
And they are making their way to your
hypothalamus.
Hypothalamus when will shear from your cerebellum.
Cerebellum. Good.
On Earth, you will enter a
comatose
sleep state forever.
That was great. I knew you could do this.
That sounds rather peaceful, demon.
In your mind, you'll be raped repeatedly by this giant octopus.
Dear God, no.
What's up? I want to get raped by an octopus. I said it.
Well, come on then. This will be great for you.
Cool.
I don't. Hey, I don't.
Then you better get someone to take that shit.
You don't tell me what to do.
I don't have to.
Oh, no!
You was having your bad dream. Here, I made you some green tea.
And it's like, your mind will be unraveled by this raping octopus or something like that. It's just Brent as fuck. So another clip I'm going to be sending you, man. So I dig it. Yeah. So it's you know, it's interesting. So Slick Leg it's like we're at a party. Slick Leg is turning 20 and we keep going into all these tangents, but there's love there. I say this about whenever you're at like someone's party and it's like everyone's just chilling and talking. You're the premise for people being there, but it's not even necessarily like it's about Mastodon, the band. Like if all that they'd ever made that was amazing, then we'd be like one hit wonder-tastic talking about the past. But the thing is, Mastodon are a living, breathing, evolving organism. That no wonder we're intuitively going into all these wider spheres and deeper spheres as well, because we have to touch on it. Obviously, they're working on album. I say it's album 9, frankly, because of I count Life's Blood and Call as one, because that feels like a cohesive body of work. And when I think about that quintet, the elemental pentalogy of earth, air, fire, quintessence, and water. And I'm gonna ask Paul about this, and this will finally rest my brain. Is like, Paul, don't fuck with me. You put the classic image, the mythological image of Father Sky or whatever, like blowing. That's the like blowing the wind. Like that is the classic image of wind, the elemental. And I will finally have it canonically on video. Paul admitting that the element of Call of the Mastodon / Life's Blood is wind, right? Because
hasn't it?
Wind, when you add the spark, you actually need the oxygen for the fire to come, and that's when remission, and then the water, that's cooled by the water, and then when you mix water and fire together, they create earth, and from the earth you climb up into the cosmos. So anyway, that's my theory of the.
It's got to be tied. It's got to be.
That's not just.
Thanks, I can't see him doing it lightly.
Indeed,
it's got to be intentional.
It has to be. I'm vibing it at least, or maybe if I don't know, I'll have a moment, you and I with Bran, just be like, okay, so me and Danny, we were riffing a couple episodes ago. Did you pick up on that? He's probably like, yeah, you serious, Albert? Step the fuck away. Of course, I am this scholar, which he is. He's very scholarly, Bran. He's a Trojan horse scholar for sure. And I'm stoked about hearing all of the dudes is like, I want to, as you're a musician, it's like balancing the levels. I want to hear just as much from, because Brand often he's speaking about the concepts and he's sort of the art director, I guess, of Mastodon conceptually. But I want to raise up, because Bill's very quiet. I want to raise him up a bit in the mix, just really get him riffing on some of mythologically, culturally, whatever. Like I first, for example, auditorially speaking, Bill's sensibilities of riffing are couched and rooted in John Williams' John Williams' chord choices. Like they're very hard hitting and classical, and then very triumphant, and that has to tie in with his Star Wars stuff. You know, I can dig it.
I always see Bill as the silent assassin of the band.
Yes.
He doesn't really do vocals or anything like that. He's pretty quiet and relaxed in interviews and stuff. But his riffs and stuff like that, and when they play live, he's just a force to be reckoned with. He'll fucking kill you without you even knowing it.
Yeah. Completely fucking agreed. I'm gonna, if I get crafty with the edit, there's a clip from the Making of Blood Mountain where it's just him doing his thing. Here we go. Boom.
I'm just gonna concentrate on playing my parts and this is a mess. We got just this table full of riffs, and we gotta put it together like a puzzle. And I just got done doing recording my guitar tracks for The Wolf is Loose. Whoosh. Uh-oh, that might be a contender. No energy.
It's got no, that's fixed line at 0 energy.
How's that pick?
That was better.
That was great. Sounds like a wolf got loose. Whoa. Really hear my pick slide on this one. Fucking Steve Vai.
And the Grammy for Best Pick Slide goes to the guy from Blink-182, not Bill.
And so that's him doing it. Basically, they're tracking the music, and he is just playing, and then he's just doing he's just fucking around. But yeah, he's for each of them, they're such pillars. No one is slacking. This solid table, this solid fucking, you can put stacks of books on it, it'll just won't move, is because each of those pillars bring that exact same level of passion, and I'm vibing that for this next one. I think with and I don't want it to ever be something that is presumed or whatever, but when I did hear sadly about Nick John's passing, I was actually very, I thought about when Brand in 2017 on the documentary said we are lucky enough to have this outlet for processing grief, and then a year later to be announced, and I had a moment of, I felt so sad, but then I was like, if this would have happened to any band, you had no greater a chance of that man being completely honored and held in eternal creative form than with Mastodon. He is so and then all of us, we love Nick John, and he's everywhere now. There's a great line from Dark Crystal. It's it's Orgra asking whatever the Gelfling, and he's like, oh yeah, my master died, and she's like, really? Could be anywhere then. And then and that's great, because that's you sort of become everything again, and so then I'm vibing that as being the mood of and the vibe of this next one, and then you mix COVID in with that, it's going to be heavy. I think he's talked about how it's going to be a bit doomier. We do the Sleep podcast too, so doomy's fine with me. Electric Wizard, we do that as well, so go doomy, man. Is it going to be, are you hyped for potentially Mastodon's first straight up doom record?
I mean, I'm not. I do like doom. I'm more into the Neurosis kind of Cult of Luna vibe when it comes to the doomy kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Rather than the dronier.
Oh no, it wouldn't be drony. No, it would be there. It would
no,
be.
But
yeah.
I think if Mastodon were to do that kind of a record, like a doomy record, it would just be monstrous. Because even riffs like you mentioned High Road earlier, can you imagine that riff just slow down a bit?
Yeah,
that would just be that would be evil.
Exactly. Yeah,
and, they're big Melvins fans, and they've covered the bit and stuff like that as well. So you just know that if Mastodon were to do a doom metal album, it would just be fucking monstrous.
Yeah, fuck yeah,
and especially with the weight behind it of the the lyrical subject. If it's dedicated to Nick John, it's going to be heavy.
I meant it when I say it's like there's a ritual almost. It's so beautiful, and it's on us to be extremely respectful. Like we're riffing, you and I, on a show, but on no level would I ever consciously, unless it was in the most respectful tones, like even evoke that, because it's so personal, and we aren't, we're on the community side, unless there is that Venn diagram. And I have that now with Richie. Like he's a pal now, and he sent some stuff, and but awesome. That would be, you would have to feel that out. I think there's also a respectfulness to the Mastodon community, and I put that in my Instagram post, which is it's I think, man, I think they might even be the only metal band that I believe are so one for one about that aspect. Like death is just a natural part of life. Like they meet it and face it and channel it, and each of those records is like as I said, this eternal kind of it's like a keeping place for that person's spirit. Like Sky is in Crack the Sky, and Brent's brother is in The Hunter. He is the Hunter, and Bill's mom in Emperor of Sand, and they're just there, and it's beautiful, and they're everywhere. But like that's kind of almost like where their spirit goes to. I think I would have to look into it, and we probably will, about across cultures. Like Troy did read like the Tibetan Book of the Dead, for Crack the Sky, where if there is this notion that maybe they happened upon something of the importance of in that moment to prepare. Like how in certain cultures, like one of our tribes folk have passed, and so then there's a preparation. There's make sure before the spirit, at this point, that this is done and that this ritual is complete, so that they are safe into the afterworld, and that's I get a sense of just their own idiosyncratic reverence for that aspect of the human experience. It's really rad. Yeah,
it's mad as well how like death is just this horrible thing that everybody has to go through, but it's weird how Mastodon have managed to somehow tap into it and channel it in such a respectful way, and it's so sincere as well. It's like
the end is not the end
off the death of people.
The end is not the end you see. It's just the recognition of a memory, which is
exactly.
It's only it's just a shifting of shapes. It's not really anything ending. It's just you just become other things.
That's it. Yeah, and as you said, these people are immortalized and they're honored by the guys in Mastodon. They're as you said, Sky being a part of Crack the Sky. That's something that's very special to Bron, but it's also something for us to appreciate and respect.
And I want to say, I hope
it into the world.
Yeah, I want to say, I want to fully honor you for mentioning of your friend that at that time when that came out, and that is good energy to that whole that experience. And again, I'll reiterate it. It's important. Please know that and it's strong. It can be very strong, that illusion of permanence, but that thing of ending your own life. It is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. There's a misalignment. You should have a temporary solution to a temporary problem. So just you gotta match those. And there's friends. If you're insanely fucking antisocial and you hate people and you wouldn't, that's fine. There's art out there. Never talk to anyone. I'm an introvert. I could see a version of myself never fucking and I would just dive into art and nature, and I would be a hiker. And so there's plenty around. I love people. I love you, man. But there's plenty to hang around on planet Earth for, other than people. If you don't like people, there's so many. So
absolutely. I mean, my girlfriend, she's always a bit when I first met her, she was always like hating the idea of getting older, and I'm nearly, she was only like 24 then. She's always like so paranoid of this idea of getting old. And I remember writing her a birthday card that year that just said, "Don't worry about getting old. It's a privilege denied to many." And it absolutely is. Like, you're only given one chance to do this.
You're a good soul.
There's always
man.
something good to do.
Yeah,
good to do. You just need to find it.
Yeah, just find it. It is something good to do, man. And I didn't mean to interrupt there. Please go ahead.
All right.
Yeah. All I wanted to say is I have weird little quasi prophetic flashes. I just had a flash of you with the gray fucking killing the game with that. We'll just catch up however many years hence. We'll see. The cosmos has its own plans, but
there's already a lot of gray in here, so I'm on the way.
I'm digging it, man. Well, interestingly, talking about ending of things, but also cycles beginning again, as we end this one, which is coming up to the hour now of the show. First of all, thank you again. So grateful for who you are, doing what you do, man. I'm looking forward to
having me on. It's like absolutely buzzing when you asked. I was like, dude, yeah, definitely.
It's the big, and that's again, it's the ending, but it's the beginning because we're gonna go. This was actually more about, I suppose, just the band, you and I, the evolution, of their sound and who they are as human beings, most of all. But I think at one point we'll do an episode by episode, like albums. We'll just let's begin.
I would love to do that.
All right. Well, how about this?
Definitely.
So I can dig it, man. So when the record name and like that path towards the record is laid out, what we'll do is over on some of the other networks, I have this kind of sometimes weekly, fortnightly, depending on schedules. It's like a road to type of thing where people can kind of get on that and write in and talk about that. So say, for example, the record is September-ish, which is what Bill was saying, November-ish. Then you and I, again, hella, like if you have something that you need to do like 10 seconds before we were to record, I will never be annoyed, like at all. Like life is omnidirectional. Like I have so many, life is just, you can do so many things, and it's I would never hinge and place any expectations. Like expectations lead to resentment, and fuck that. And so hypothetically November-ish, something like that, then you and I would be like, okay, well, we have this many records, this many EPs to see if we want to, and I would just figure something out, send it to you and be like, okay, well, starting in late July, we'll have a dedicated Call of the Mastodon album discussion and just kind of go through each song and be like, motherfucker, like, oh, where strides the behemoth, fucking hail to fire, shut the fuck up.
I'm really looking forward to I can talk for hours about Mastodon to anybody, so
mad dude. And we get it, the adage of like talking about music is like singing about architecture, but at the same point they serve many other spheres than that. It's like we would be talking about music, but then vibes of the music, instances of when we were listening to it, gig stories. Oh, when that song come on, that person punched that person in the face and it was crazy, So, and I do that I saw your tattoo of the ghost of Papa Emeritus. Yeah, we do that. One of the Ghost podcasts coming up, where down the line again, Tobias being like, what is this? You want to talk about things? I'll be like, okay. I got my friend Danny. We got Girl Void Vex. She's our co-host over there, and speaking to the art director or the set decorator of the Rats music video. You know what I mean? Like getting fucking people on screen signal boosted, So, album by album, but so many directions. I want to have a whole series of Joseph Campbell. Like the very fact they start Blood Mountain with, the hero of the gods, the crossing of the threshold, the belly of the whale, refusal of return. Like, so, and okay, another thing, I'm just going to little teaser trailers because is the Joseph Campbell Foundation, who actually are this, like, no matter what album it is, you can actually lay a map out of that monomythic arc. Like they're laid out, all Mastodon records are laid in a very a way where you could just immediately start listening again, and that's the hero's journey, so having that. But man, it ended up being like we were just riffing. I was like, oh, this is going to be worthwhile unto itself. He's rad in messages, but this, like, I felt like I've made a kindred friend today. Like, that's rad.
Likewise, man.
No worries. So what's on for the rest of the day for you, man?
Well, it's quite late here. It's like 11 o'clock at night, so I'm probably just gonna just gonna chill out and listen to some music on my headphones or something.
That is Danny's code for he's about to fucking go crazy. He's gonna spin some albums. Fucking who knows what he's gonna do. For me, so I guess it is the weekend here, and just getting editing on this one. But we've got a Dune podcast that we're doing right now. So, but dude, love and light to you. Giant hugs to you and the missus from the missus and I here.
Thanks, man. See you later. Take care.
Man. You too, man. Boy.
With their shield and their swords, fight the fight to believe.